pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Spectre. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, first game of the day, TNC. Oh, they go with exactly what you were thinking. Just to give all credit, he wasn't on the panel, but Ben was predicting the Tinker. Don't think you predicted the Spec, though.
No, I'm trying to figure out who's playing what here. Ramses is on Spectre, so mid-Magnus. Okay, that's not that weird. Yeah. We have seen offlane Lifestealer before.
We have.
Who's your pick?
It's actually a CIS classic, Mr. 4-position Havost. He used to do it all the time.
That's because he got sacked.
True, true. At the same time, like you say, like Ramsey's, like he's got a fantastic lifestealer, and TNC have known, like, and have shown already in this competition to be very aggressive against that safe lane. So it could have been a little bit more comfortable, but as you were kind of pointing out before during the drafting phase, you got Nerf Spirit and a Dazzle Nyx in the lane. It's not going to be that intimidating for you. So the spec safe lane could potentially work.
And it is really good versus Tinker. I think it's probably one of the best carries at catching a Tinker. I think actually the best carry at killing a Tinker. I can't think of another hero that can get on top of him. Most of the time it's like an offlaner that's really good at dealing with them, Clockwork and Nyx in particular, but Spec with Blade Mail, just get on top of the Tinker, you can't do anything. The only bad thing about Spectre is it can't interrupt TPs. But with the Lifestealer inside of you, maybe you can just kill him instantly. Maybe with the Magnus and Power, you can also do a lot more. So Spectre does have in this game, but I think he is enabled by his other cores. Maybe you can even eat the Spectre and infest the Magnus.
Infest into.
Wait, you don't need to eat the Spectre. Maybe you can eat the Slardar and then hide inside the Magnus and then haunt in, and then there's 4 heroes right there instantly.
Potentially, yes. And then Tinker is able to escape from you if you don't have like a Radiance over on the Spec, because then he can just blink away. Or he just gets a 4-staff and then rearm 4-staff, just keep pushing yourself out. I'm not so certain about it, and I could see the apprehension with the panel as well. Like, do you really want to back the VP draft with everything they've got? Like right now they're running 4 melee heroes against a Tinker, and potentially just to be kited out and controlled by Terrorblade and everything else is coming at him. It's almost like Blade Mail is going to be like the key item coming into the team fights, but I think we're going to go like full Blade Mail Tinker counter.
I think the Magnus has a really big role too. We haven't seen Magnus too much in the mid lane just because he's able to get a lot of farm without being in the mid lane because of his talents. So not sure if he's going to go for like an Echo Saber-ish build, but one underrated part about the Spectre in this game, yeah, it's good versus Tinker, but it's also really good versus Dazzle. The panel was talking about potentially a Silencer pick to deal with the Dazzle, but with Haunt, you can just kill the Dazzle instantly, and then after you either force out a Grave or kill the Dazzle, then you can actually kill the Terrorblade. But Tim's Earth Spirit. But. That's a big but.
Hey, Fog seemed to be very excited by it.
Any Air Spirit player is excited to see Tim's. Air Spirit's, he takes a lot of finesse. Toby, do you play Air Spirit at all?
No. No. I play very simple heroes.
So
I'm a very simple player.
Wraith King,
No.
Lone Druid with no bear.
No. See, Wraith King would actually require proper armlet toggling. No.
Just don't buy armor.
So you go Venno, Nature's Prophet, Drow Ranger.
Drow Ranger is not that easy. Neither is NP.
See, I've played enough Drow Ranger and Nature's Prophet because NP's all about the choices to go for split push. Drow Ranger is making sure you don't screw up your Gust, get a Hurricane Pike as early as you can, and learn the last hitting mechanics before level 6. Once you hit level 6, you don't give a crap.
Learning last hit mechanics before level 6? Isn't that with every hero?
No, it's harder with Drow Ranger just because the attack animation's so terrible.
These are some advanced tactics, Toby.
That's not advanced. That is not advanced. You're trying to make me feel good about myself when I play. that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Like, Mister, I play Lone Druid. I can micro 2 things at once. Nope, that's more than me. It's like I'm one of those people where you hit random and then an Enchantress comes up and you're like, okay, I'm going full Himpetus DPS build. I'm not going to enchant a single creep unless it just is like an Alpha Wolf that follows behind me. And that's it. I'll just keep enchanting that one creep.
You are a simple man, Toby.
I am a very simple man. I may not know Dota, but I know what I like. Oh. Cool. Awesome. So we just got her Naria. Just a couple of problems, but we are confident. I don't know if confidence is the word. We're optimistic. We'll be able to get started soon. So with VP, okay, so we're playing slightly different lanes. You're sacking the Lifestealer on the off with Pasha. Is it even really a sack? Like, is VP really going to struggle with farm when you're still running the Magnus?
I think it's more so that they want to put the Lifestealer in a less important role because the Terrorblade's in the game. Whenever you have a Terrorblade versus Lifestealer, Lifestealer's life is actually quite miserable because he has so much armor that he does a lot of physical damage to rage and he has a lot of armor. So you can't kill him and he can kill you, which is kind of Lifestealer's worst nightmare. You don't want to be in that position at all. So put him in a less important role, maybe just, cause a little bit of trouble for the supports, eat up some space around the map, draw some attention from those supports.
Make him commit. Next Assassin's first rotation and... Wait, we get to have these things now? Okay, we're now... can we have them back? Our social media question.
Is TNC lucky with their wins, or is it all preparation? Well...
Was TNC lucky at TI?
I don't think so.
No?
I think also with Swiss, there's much less preparation that is possible. Like, you can prepare for all 16 teams, or 15 teams, but it's going to be in much less depth than it would be in a normal round robin group stage where all the matches are fixed.
So you focus more on your own gameplay and not just the team you're going up against.
And I also think they beat 2 pretty good teams. EG 2-0, that is very respectable. And Thunderbirds, who I think personally are looking very, very good, also beating them 2-1 is quite respectable. I think it's not giving them credit where credit's due if you say that they're lucky.
I agree. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it firsthand as well because we get to show them on the main stream, which we haven't done, I believe, yet.
They do not get enough love, TNC. They won WESG, which is a very big tournament. They did okay in Star Series, and they did very well at TI. I would say other than Digital Chaos at TI, they were the second team that placed way higher than expected.
Yeah.
Favorite memes? RTAZ. This is for you, Toby.
1040.
1040? Is that even a meme already?
It should be. Because it just shows like Syndra's dismay.
Did Fogg tell you about this new meme that Jack texted him this morning? I don't know if he explained it earlier.
No, he said it in the car as we were coming over.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It says...
Explain.
It's like... so he was saying about how in their pubs, because Midas is like so prevalent now, supports don't want to listen to anyone else in the game. So they kind of just chat... I'm not listening, I'm going to buy Boots of Travel in Midas. And it rhymes in Chinese, like, Buting is like, I don't listen, and then Facia, and then Hand of Midas rhymes with Ting, so that's where it comes from. So it's much It flows off way better in Chinese than in English. You can't say
Yeah,
I'm not listening. I'm not listening. Bots Midas.
You've lost it in the translation.
But
it doesn't have. It's not as quirky.
I think it'd be cool if people could understand Chinese. You would appreciate it a lot more. But it's still a pretty good one. I like the ones that take a lot more thought and preparation to the Mia, other than, I don't know, burning 1040 is like, you got a specific number. Is there anything special about 1040 other than he got the GPM? It could be any number.
It was Syndra in complete disbelief. That's the reason why I like.
Oh yeah,
it's a fresh meme. Like it's like fresh bread.
How could you not choose 1000+ for that category though? He calls himself an analyst.
Does he?
Does he? Debatable. Debatable here. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the oldest memes. Like,
we need Slacks for that.
What is the
That's
oldest?
a Slacks question.
That is a Slacks question. Like, what is one of the oldest memes ever?
He's
like,
the historian.
There was the rat meme, like, but that was more of a...
We have another question, Toby.
Okay. What team would pick the most Naga Siren?
Would?
Yeah, would. Like, if it's not banned...
Probably
OG.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have to be, like, number one.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's many other teams who'll be like, we're going to prioritize Naga more than anything else. But that's also because, like, we saw DAC, that Naga Enigma combination, like, it just set off, like, the Monkey, Enigma, plus Naga, it's a brutal combination.
It's not 4 Protect 1 for them. I think most of the other teams play 4 Protect 1 style. TNC included. It was first banned against them, but I don't think they would snag it up any opportunity that they could, because their 5-man is just incredibly strong, and they don't need to rely on these like Radiant Illusions carries to win them the games. Not that it's not a legit strategy, it's just their forte is not 4 Protect 1. And Raven is a god at carry, apparently with his... He shattered my prediction yesterday. It's 23-25. That was mine for most kills. So sad. That's 33.
I don't know if he actually destroyed mine on that.
Did you pick 26+? 26+ is very hard.
I don't think I did.
That's hard to accomplish in a professional setting against good players.
You're gonna be worried.
You got 17 and 19?
I'm destroyed. I'm destroyed.
This is my triggered face, Toby.
Hey. I just randomly threw these things in. But I still did plus 1,000 for my for my highest GPM.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's like the freest 400 points right there.
Yeah, it's free. It's free points. No matter what you think about it. But the one thing I am concerned about is the shortest game of the tournament. I think that was a little bit harder.
It's at like 20-30 right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm at 20 to 20, like 24.
It was a 20-minute.
But
it was a 20-minute game yesterday. I think SG versus.
I know there's one of them came through at 29.
I think it was SG Liquid game. That was. Anyways, Pasha having some fun. It's not that many tournaments in CIS anymore. We used to have Starlighter and Star Series always in that area, but they've recently expanded their territory. Now they're close to home.
And I'm wondering what's actually wrong with the bouncing around. So right now we're missing solo, so it's on the VP end of things. So okay, that's so we just heard Naria they actually had to replace his PC.
Dude, Mr. Cat. Sponsored by Mr. Cat.
So why is that a standout for you?
Oh, Mr. Cat is like that 24-hour cafe that we went to eat at in Kiev.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now you know.
Yeah, I remember that was.
Mr. Cat holds a special place in each of our hearts.
I got food poisoning from there.
TNC the kryptonite for crit. TNC's playstyle is very particular against EG because EG they have a really solid late game and almost always they can actually get there except against TNC it seems. So I would say in a short answer yes, just because I think like TNC's mid game is just incredible. Their 5-man and potential to end games is way greater than anyone else's in that particular phase. If I had to rate like any team in between like the 25 and 35 minute phase, it'd be like IG and OG and TNC actually in that area. Like they can do so much even at a disadvantage and end the game. Whereas EG just generally pretty good at stalling and farming up 3 cores, I would say, and TNC they're much less reliant. I would say they're way more 2-core centric than EG. They can actually play and end the game early, of course.
So all in all, TNC good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, like that's the primary thing you asked the question on as far as the kryptonite, because the biggest kryptonite I've been looking at is IG to OG, like with Bobica. New one though, Kunkka, 100% win rate at DAC. Why is he not being picked?
How many times was he picked at DAC?
I don't think many. Not many come to mind for DAC.
Yeah, I'm trying to double check really quickly. There is a thing called sample size that is important.
Yeah, we maybe led up the garden path for this one, but I don't remember him being played in the main event. And it wasn't even like the older school combinations.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have like the X marks with Tinker and such.
This new Dota is slightly difficult to navigate. Kunkka, 3-0.
Okay. 3 games is more than I thought he would have had. But the group stage was pretty long.
Yeah. I think the hero is pretty good. I think he was really good when Shadow Demon was popular because it was just a really nice natural combination. Shadow Demon's like really good for laning, and Kunkka kind of synergizes and sets up the team fight a lot more. But level 1, he got nerfed a lot. It's also way harder to level 6 now because of the experience change nerf. And heroes that are like way reliant on their ulti like that and aren't that strong at level 1 have slightly fallen out of favor, I would say. Especially if you can't jungle. Like CM, I think is one of the best supports and is gonna still continue to be picked a lot just because you can level to level 6 because you can jungle and you can lane and you can offensive. You can put her anywhere. Kunkka is like so in tri lanes. He can't jungle at all, and his kill potential in mid is very, very low relative to a lot of the other heroes, and he can't zone a mid laner like Ogre or something like that. So
what you're saying is he's kind of slipping back into that role of like there's always something better to pick up instead of him.
I think his weaknesses are too great.
Oh, we finally get to start it up, so Crystal Maiden back inside the game, and off we will roll, and Solo wastes no time, already getting that fresh Observer Ward down in the mid lane, so both teams actually just putting a little bit of vision towards the mid. No real surprise there too when you want to try and protect your Tinker, because Cuckoo will be running that mid, leaving Terrorblade for Raven on the bottom lane. And then Nyx Assassin. No Stout Shield, no PMS to start with. He actually just went for the boots on the Nyx Assassin for the offlane.
Boots first. Not expected.
Is
is my...
it a little bit more expected though when you're going up against so much melee? Or is it just because like if you did have the PMS, Solo would do nothing to you?
Hold on, I can't control my own camera.
You have to restart your game.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were watching Dota TV stuff before. That's the reason why I actually restarted my game too. Yep.
Go on, Toby.
Fun times.
That's a slight issue for me.
I was finishing my point. I just know about bugs in Dota.
Oh yeah, the boost versus PMS.
Yeah.
These versus what? CM plus spec.
But Solo's actually looks like he's not even preparing for the lane with the double clarities he's got inside the jungle. He can just stack and flash farm in there for a short period of time and let Lil gain a lot of experience just from pulling.
Yeah,
but Lil also went for boots first.
I would have thought that versus double melee lane you would do it. You would get a PMS instead. But there is a lot of slow in the lane potential from a Uv, the Crystal Nova, and then even the Slytherin Crush slow and the Spectral Dagger. There's a lot of slow, but maybe even a TP scroll. He does have a TP scroll, so as long as he has a TP scroll, he should be fine.
All right, so how's Noah meant to run this mid lane? He's up against a Tinker. He's going to get lasered all the time. So Shockwave's kind of like the only way he can farm, but it's not like a DK with Breathe Fire, where once he gets bottled, he can just keep farming with that.
Yeah, it's slightly more mana intensive, but it is kind of what you have to do in the lane. I don't know. There's not too many other options for him. He can just... I don't think he can get a kill, but he also should not be killed. So just a farming lane for him. Nice thing about Magnus is you can always stack and farm with Shockwave. Just don't get your range creeps denied.
He doesn't even have to stack it himself. Solo's already trying to take care of that. He's only done 1 stack so far. But
they
he's
want
also
maximum
creeping
stacks.
some of them.
You always want maximum stacks as Magnus. So even a hero like Spectre can do ancient creeps very, very easily. So he's already level 2. Don't forget he has CM Aura as well.
Yep.
He can also go like 0, 1, 2 on the Crystal Maiden if he wants to help out that Magnus. That's the nice thing about Crystal Maiden. You can help out your mid laner.
Top lane. They're going to rolling boulder in over to Ramses. It was set up by the Earth Spike. There isn't enough damage to kill off Ramses thanks to that PMS he's holding on to. But the Orb of Venom from Tim's still does force Spec off the lane, and he has to pop his salve already.
Samich has been pretty beastly on the Nyx Assassin. He's just a constant nuisance in the off lane. I do like how he almost always goes to lane too. I do not see him juggle very often. Occasionally with Axe, I suppose.
Even when he played the Axe earlier in the tournament, like he was in the lane getting up.
Yeah, I think he had a tri-lane though, so they're really good about setting up for success. And Tim's his early game rotations are going to be quite important. Spectre is definitely a hero that you want to pressure, and definitely a hero that a Nyx can't do unless it's a one-on-one situation. But VP are not going to let that happen.
I'm actually surprised he's not going a little bit deeper, looking for the Crystal Maiden at the start.
It's just not that easy of a kill anymore. Earth Spirits can't get solo kills anymore because of the nerf to Rolling Boulder.
Frostbite onto the Nyx. Lil, he triggered the sprint like he wanted to go in for the crush, but there's no follow-up. Ramses is still farming up underneath the tower, and this spec is not ready to engage just yet. Nice thing for no one, 3 minutes in, his bottle will arrive, so he's able to start Shockwave farming against Cuckoo.
And Crystal Maiden did go for the 2 points on Aura, so that's just an excess of mana regeneration on the Magnus. Cuckoo's coming under a little bit of fire now.
Yeah, he needs to get his own bottle up, but he went for the boots as well as the Null Talisman to start with. So he can at least play the range game. He just has to dodge that Shockwave from no one. Rolling Boulder in, Tim's gonna kick back no one, but there's no friends around. The Tinker's gone over to trigger up the Shrine, so Tim's is more posturing in the mid lane than really attacking.
He was trying to at least maybe get a little bit of mana out of him with a skewer, but no one's not scared.
Stands his ground.
Pacha's CS is surprisingly high for this lane too. 10 CS is pretty good. I guess Solo Dazzle's not the greatest at zoning him. He did have the Observer Ward at the start, but with the Pro Man Shield, doesn't really do that much.
What happens when Raven actually decides to push? Like he's currently sitting at 0-2-2, it's all off cooldown. Can Pasha actually defend this, or is it just pull the creep wave off?
They can't kill him, right? If they cast anything on him, he can just rage and run away, as is typical Lifestealer fashion. So I think that's one nice thing about Lifestealing. Like he doesn't have a good way to pull the creeps except by like melee aggroing the creeps, but he's not really that scared at all. Like even with an instant Earth Spirit silence, it's gonna be a very difficult kill. So yeah, he's fairly resilient, I suppose, but just no good way to kill the creeps.
VP's gonna smoke up. Solo and Lil together in the mid lane trying to wrap around. They'll have to go all the way around the Tinker if they want him, unless Cuckoo stands his ground like he just did. The Nova will slow him down. Lil's able to get the crush, has to get outside the March of the Machines. Cuckoo, one last attack from Crystal Maiden will actually do the job, but they lose the Magnus in return. Tim's quick on the TP. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade-off, and Virtus Pro is the ones to get the first blood.
So he did go for the 3 points in March, definitely helping with that kill.
Yet. Rolling Boulder forward, Solo, Tim's. Does he actually have anything to really work with? Lil is low on life. The cross will come out. With the help from Dazzle, they have enough life, and there's your secondary kick. So Lil will fall. No one wants to keep fighting this one, but you got Cuckoo around. A quick skewer from no one, just getting closer back towards his core of Ramses, who was coming down to help out.
Yep, no dice with that one.
But the first real rotations of the game.
Yeah, the March choice is pretty interesting though. They have like almost no kill potential on the Magnus. Even with the Earth Spirit rotation, even like a Nyx level 6, I would say is pretty difficult to get a kill on Magnus with level 3 March. So just prioritizing getting that Soul Ring nice and early, and just relying on the Terrorblade to do the majority of the tower damage and just draw the majority of the tension in the early game.
Suppose too, once you do actually have the BTs up on the Tinker, that's when Terrorblade's going to be looking to push again, so any kind of cover fire will allow Terrorblade just to force in the buildings.
Yep.
And VP worry with their full melee lineup how they even fight at that early point of the game.
They can just power farm with the Magnus though.
Yeah.
I think generally as a Spectre team, you're not that worried about your
Bottom lane, Spec gonna haunt him. They're looking for the kill. Raven's the primary target. Shallow Grave will make this difficult. He doesn't actually have a TP scroll, but that's why they're bringing support. Nyx Assassin able to get the stun on the Spectre, but Solo already gets the kill under Raven. Can Ramsey get himself out? This one, 3-1 charges. He has the dagger up in, well, now, but not enough mana to actually use it. So buys up his items and will not be able to escape. So again, VP commit for the ganks, but again, they lose a core.
Still, I think you want to use your haunt very early in this sort of game. They're going to be very slow on the side of TNC, especially with the March build on Tinker. You're not really worried about him TPing in and counter ganking, and it's still going to be quite some time until you see BOTs. Even when he gets BOTs, he still needs a Soul Ring before he can actually come into the fights and do a lot of damage. And even then, he still can't really spam because he won't have a lot of levels in Rocket. So they still have, what, maybe like 6-7 minutes, I would say, at the bare minimum until Cuckoo can actually do a lot of damage in the team fights. Cuckoo's Tinker is also crazy. He blinks in the middle of heroes all the time, which is a little bit absurd. It's less absurd when you have a Dazzle on your team, but it's still quite cool how he plays it. Like, that's generally not how you play this. Like, oh, you hide in the trees, you like spam with Ags and Aether Lens from as far range as possible. But that is not Cuckoo's playstyle.
Do you really want to see him do that in this game, however? It seems like jumping into this VP lineup would be suicide.
It does, but it allows a lot of stuff to happen for your team. Like Earth Spirit can set up for like multiple hero stunts. All you need is like one good, like 2 or 3 hero stun, and then you can follow it with another one.
Pasha, bottom lane, is he really going to try and commit to Raven? Raven's just going to sunder Pasha down. The damage, it won't be enough to kill him. Pasha will retreat out. Potentially just trying to slow down the Metamorphosis push.
Yeah, get those taunts down.
Dire's bottom tower
He is. That's like top 5 taunt in my book. Magnus Leap. It's always fun.
That's a lot of weight to shift.
Yeah? How heavy do you think he is? In kilograms. I'll make it easy for you.
Thank you, because I was going to say, if you're going to make me say it in like in pounds or tons, I'm like, okay, yeah. No, Magnus is like 20 stone. Yeah, okay.
20 barrels.
Oh, yeah, that'd be pretty damn heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like, I would easily say he would crack the 1K.
under attack.
1K kg?
Yeah.
That sounds about right, roughly. Magnos, right?
Not including Mallet.
Dude, that thing probably weighs a few hundred.
Yep.
He's still doing the taunt.
Actually, imagine like you'd have to do like it's not even leg day. That's the reason why his legs are just so fat. He has to do arm day every day in order to actually hold on to that mallet.
He's like the best gym partner ever. He in power. He's like pumping everyone up, man.
I'm your motivational person at a gym.
Dude, those people are great. The ones that you go to just like, do it, one more. Come on, you can do it, man.
One more lift.
Those are great. Motivation's tough to come by. It's hard enough just to get yourself to go.
Bottom lane, Raven, open wound, Solo's coming in close. VP been waiting for this. The Frostbite's available, and Terrorblade doesn't have Sunder because Pasha attacked before. Raven can't just Sunder himself out this one. The Shallow Grave will keep him alive. Is there another heal? Not in time. So Nyx Assassin has to do the work. Spy Carapace something on Solo, allowing the double kick from Tims, combining up with the Silence, the Crush. Lil's still looking for the good timing. He's got it. Nyx Assassin plus Tims getting caught out from that one. Nyx wants to attack from the rear. Now he finally will. Hits into Pasha. Follow up, a secondary stun, connecting on Solo in the tree line, and with the help from Cuckoo, they will have, or should have, enough damage if they can just get vision on Solo again. The stun's off cooldown in 2 seconds time for that impale of Sam, and this should be the icing on the cake. He'll try and do it. No, he'll do it with a stun. So Virtus Pro really trying to get aggressive.
Yeah, another death on Raven, but that's okay. That's just an easy way for him to go up to the top lane. And Virtus Pro still do not have their prize T1 down on bottom. That T1 is still at full HP. I think one of the most difficult parts about VP's lineup is actually converting into objectives, because your mid's a Magnus. Magnus is not going to be hitting towers unless everyone's dead. You generally be Lifestealer, but Lifestealer is awful in this situation. Spectre's also terrible at hitting towers unless he's just split pushing alone. But I don't know if they have enough 4-man threat to be able to force towers without the Spectre actually there.
But didn't you say like it's meant to be about farm, so it's more holding on to your own tier 1 towers so you can control your farm areas.
But they cannot hold on to the tier 1s.
Not against this. There's too much damage to walk into the Martian Machines, and Terrorblade's push power, where Metamorphosis is off cooldown, is just so high. So Burst Gold will be also coming the way of TNC.
Yeah, and Raven, it's not like he really uses cooldowns for that death on bottom. It's not like he tried to use Thunder and still died. He didn't use meta. So, yeah, now 2 towers down already for VP. And you need to be able to like protect your ancient stacks, I would say. That's pretty important. And of course, even more importantly is you need to get Spectre that Radiance. I do see it queued up on Ramses, so okay.
Does he have time though? Like, is this when you have to go for a more aggressive build to defend your towers?
It's a toss-up. Generally, Radiance is like almost always the build on Spectre, but I think with a Magnus in the game, there is a lot more leeway for flexibility in builds because you can go like a Treads, Diffusal, Yasha build. That's a ton of agility and you can actually cleave people a lot, but you don't really need to cleave that much here. He's not against heroes that you need to, it's not like he's versus PL, he's not like he's up against that many melee cores. Nyx is kind of melee, but he's generally not in there getting cleaved with everyone else.
Nice little bit of a scout out. Oh, okay, Ramsey's going to come in this with Pasha here. They have enough damage to potentially kill off the Nyx Assassin, but again, Shallow Grave makes it difficult for VP just to finish the target they want to kill off, and the Nyx Assassin will survive. So there's Spectral Haunt down. You don't get the initiation you're really hoping for.
Dazzle has been left unchecked in many of these fights, and they third picked him after seeing the Magnus, and it's I would say is very, very good against RP, especially when you have the Terrorblade that was immediately picked after. But even against a Slaughter Lifestealer, Dazzle's like one of the best heroes versus that. And you can even use a defensive Sunder if you need to, especially if it's a hero on like Tinker. He can just BOT back and come back in. So there is a lot of counterplay to the initiation that VP has.
No one is skewering and looking towards the tree line, but as you said, Cuckoo likes to play it from the lane or
dude,
inside the creep
he's
wave.
in there.
He wasn't even the place where most Tinkers would normally be.
Yeah, maybe he thought that he had Blink at that time. I think that's actually what it was. But
oh, Pasha, he's able to kill off the courier, but will he get out of this one with his life? He's got his TP available, but with Rage now down, TP support's coming in. So Pasha, it was nice to kill off the courier, which was holding on to the Blade of Alacrity and the Yasha recipe.
Gold-wise, that's worth for him, but momentum-wise, that's a big loss. Yeah, I think they will lose the tier 2 tower. We still have not yet seen an RP yet from no one. No one just
But he's got his Blink Dagger now. That was something he didn't have when they're looking for that fight up on top lane before.
He had it when he tried to skewer, but he's been trying to power farm the jungle, which is... He's their main anti-pusher, I would say, especially with the Spell Lamp talent on the Magnus. That's what he went for at level 10. So Shockwave can one-shot the range creeps right now, and he is just not there to defend any of these towers. 3 towers and counting. When will it stop?
It's a very good question. VP looks like they still don't want to try and fight. Like, they started a TP, I think it was Solo who was TPing to the tier 2 tower. But TNC are ready for it. Sam camps the shrine. They make sure they can't get flanked from behind. And this push will just keep continuing. The Blink Dagger is almost there for Cuckoo. The money keeps flooding in. Overall, you're looking at only a small advantage going the way of TNC. So for all the towers they're taken, they've only got a 500 net worth advantage. And the experience is going the way of Virtus Pro. So the war of attrition is sort of swinging the way of Virtus Pro, but it's how much they can continue to control once they start losing these towers, especially that mid-tier 1.
Their window's pretty small, I would say, for TNC to take advantage of it, because Spectre has Radiance in maybe, 5 minutes or so, and Slardar has like 700 gold, so his Blink Dagger is going to be pretty slow, but I don't actually think they need a Slardar to jump. That's the nice thing about their lineup. They can have the Spectre with Infested Lifestealer inside jump on any target that they want. But at the same time, Radiance could be a double-edged sword. Double-edged sword in the sense that because he is versus Nick Assassin, he is very likely to get chain stunned in the fights with the Radiance on the carapace.
The smoke's going to break. If Solo's actually able to reveal this, in fact, yep, there goes the smoke break over on the Terrorblade. Rolling ball to forward, but no one. He blinks away to safety. Solo not connected on by the stun, so now they jump in. The RP connects on two with the pop out and the Spectral Horn. TNC, they've been covered from all angles by Virtus Pro. Solo's the only one to go down for them. Spy Carapace creates a little bit of space, but with Cuckoo dead and Lil with the stick charges, he gets outside the Master Machines, will survive. And the amplification on the Nyx Assassin, well, he'll wear off and he'll make his way back. So a 2-for-1 trade-off. Very good one for VP. But the first use of that RP.
Rior's positioning has been really, really good. That was a nice double 2-man RP, but they haven't been able to catch a Dazzle. He's at 0 deaths this game, and he's the hero that needs to be able to save the Tinker and save the Terrorblade. He was still in position for a pretty good grave, but that is a little bit worrisome for TNC that they were caught off guard by VP. They did have the Lifestealer sitting inside the Magnus, and I do not think that TNC saw that coming at all. And Solo doing what Solo typically does, dying for the greater good. He does this all the time when he plays heroes like Ogre and CM. It seems like it's no different. Pop the smoke, get vision, get the heroes to clump up onto you.
He's dead again.
Yeah.
This time he doesn't actually gain anything. He has 2 Observer Wards, but it's just Nyx Assassin watching him run out. Terrorblade will enjoy this one. Frostbitten up, but this will allow them with the Metamorphosis to push through the tier 1 and do significant damage to the tier 2 tower. Tinker will hold the top lane, so there's not even a trade-off that VP can look for here.
Yeah, this is one of the downsides about having ultimates that revolve around 2 minutes cooldown. If you don't force out the Metamorphosis from Terrorblade, TNC are going to get a lot. So after that 2-man RP into 2 kills, it looks like TNC still come out ahead. And this tower just no contest from VP at all.
Yep. Well, they can't. With no Spectral Horn, there's no Chaos in the fight. He does have the Relic up and running, but still no Radiance available. So Ramses needs time.
What does Cuckoo go for here? Cuckoo has 1,800 gold on the Tinker, and it's not an easy call for him. Aether Lens is the standard, I would say. Bloodstone, maybe if he thinks he needs that HP buffer.
Would it make sense to actually still get the 4-staff early on to try and kite away from the Lifestealer?
Perhaps, but I don't think the 4-staff is that great versus Spectre. Maybe you go like Ghost Scepter, let's say. Like, do they have any counter versus Ghost Scepter? You could potentially go Ghost Scepter.
Glimmer Cape.
Glimmer Cape is pretty decent, especially because you can spam it. It does, the magic resistance is pretty useless, and they do have the Amplify, but I think being able to invis up your other teammates is going to be very, very good, especially when you have to worry about haunts a lot. Spectre's going to have a lot more trouble finding you. And Spectre actually has like kind of pretty big slot issues. He didn't go for an Urn this game, so that is pretty nice for the Spectre, but you don't want to have to carry a Dust on Spectre all the time for this. But this is a really tough juncture for the Tinker, though. As to what 2,000 gold or 4,000 gold item to get right now. I've seen him rush Shivas before a lot, but I don't really think you want to be blinking in the middle of the entire team, as you mentioned, and he'd probably still die with the Shivas, and he already has a weave for armor. So, yeah, Glimmer Cape perhaps, so he can just escape after. They don't actually have any good damage over time to kill someone through like through a grave.
It's fight time for VP. Lil's going to come onto the top lane, he loses 1/3 of his life with the Rockets, make it 3/4. And he's going to go back into the March of the Machines. The Spectral Horn is out, looking for his primary target. The kick actually connects onto Solo. Tim's hits the mark, and that means the follow-up stun onto Ramses will bring him down. Raven will pick up a double kill. Not even really tested, had the Sunder available as well. So 2 heroes down. That's the first Radiance fight the VP was looking for, but Magnus just wasn't there to really do anything.
That Glimmer Cape owned. He blinked into the trees and Glimmer Cape and just spam March, and he actually caught no one with a March. He had to cancel his RP, and Ramses was expecting the RP, but there was none.
No one's waiting for it. There's your RP getting Cuckoo. Will it be enough with the 2 of them stunned up? But no, the follow-up stun. Nyx Assassin is there. Pasha, he's dying too quickly. Solo back to the world of living, but now he just gives the life over to the Terrorblade, sundering him out. And Raven looking to do as much chip damage as he possibly can to this tier 3 tower. And with no Lifestealer, again, VP, they're down too many cores. You can shockwave through the Terrorblade. It hurts a lot, but then again, you've got the Dazzle sitting on the back lines, giving a little bit of burst heal, but TNC, they don't have to stick around. Spec is back up again, and you've already got that top tower down to almost 500 HP.
Did you see how fast Tim silenced that Magnus? Yeah, there was no chance of him counter skewering. I would not be surprised if he had his like cursor like clicked on where he thought the Magnus was gonna RP. It was that fast, and after that, no one's like, what do I do now, guys? And he went before the Spectre came up, but sometimes it's actually good to do that because the opponents aren't expecting it. But the maximum number of people that he's been able to catch an RP is just 2, and without the skewer to follow up, there was like you want to ideally skewer them into the shrine, let's say, and then you just shrine up and then just beat on them the entire time. But yeah, that's TNC are just their teamwork's far better at this point, and it's mostly just trying to combo the Haunt and the RP. But with the constant March spam and the Grave and Nyx Assassin potentially, like if he gets RP while with a Carapace on, no one can't really do anything either. So he's going to need to go for more initiation items. He is going for the Shadow Blade. I would not be surprised if he went for a BKB after, just so he can secure a good RP.
I wonder if he's able to even get to that point. Talking about getting BKBs on him, I'm waiting to see Ramses to get some more survivability. But this Tinker is going to start chipping away. It was Aghanim Scepter in the quick buy menu for Cuckoo. Now he's actually switched over to getting a Bloodstone. But TNC are just one Metamorphosis away from pushing through the top lane. Like if they can catch out one hero from Virtus Pro, then their top Brax will probably go down with without any kind of contest.
I think it's a good smoke timing though for VP. We do see the dust picked up on the Spectre to deal with the Glimmer Cape. We also see the blink on the Slaughter, so this is a really important time for them. And if Slaughter wins this fight, he has a medallion on his quick buy, so then they can do Roche immediately after. So they need to be able to connect on this. Problem is, they don't have any vision on that side of the map. They have the anti-Tinker ward down on bottom and another ward trying to farm the Ancients. But TNC, they have their eyes on that T3 tower on top. And then they can take Shrines, and then they can take Roche in whatever order they please.
Bottom tower is under attack.
So Roshan is going down slowly. Cuckoo is keeping the creep wave off the bottom lane, and with a fortification as well. If they're going to commit, they have to commit properly. Ramses can Spectral Haunt down if he wants to, but Cuckoo's currently playing both of the side lanes while the rest of TNC can just take Roshan. And VP will be able to get it. So it's taken 23 minutes, but they claim their second tier 1 tower. The small victories they look for, that advantage they were holding with the net worth, it doesn't exist anymore. With the death of Roshan, it's going to start to move up above 6,000 in the net worth. They still hold the experience advantage, and they've held it for this entire game, but it won't last much longer. Not at this rate.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really hard-pressed to win this fight.
Oh, Ramses,
nice.
He found Cuckoo with the help of Lil.
Yep, that Tinker Ward paying off.
Yep, and they needed that. They needed the space. They needed the kill onto Ramses, so Ramses can get the 415 gold and work towards having that Manta style done.
Is that worth it though? They had to expend Haunt for that. So now in the next fight, Tinker can probably run free in the back lines as is Dazzle. So they can actually push in between the Haunt cooldown right now. Tinker can BOT to the creep wave. It's not an issue that the creep wave is out that far, and they are ready to go. Everything's up aside from the Tinker, but that's just 15 seconds time, and that T3 is really, really low right now.
Yep.
And it's just RP from no one, who has a lot of hurdles to hop through if he wants to be able to get a good RP off.
It seems like mission impossible. But if it's possible, if he does do it, it'll be a glorious play. For now, Raven triggers Metamorphosis, and TNC, they start their pressure. Tinker will arrive. They need some vision up high ground. Pasha actually going in with Lil as the Blink Crush. Nyx Assassin, he's the one that has to be Spike Cameras, and the RP! There it is! 4 heroes caught with the cleave damage! TNC! They'll lose practically everything. The Aegis Immortal will trigger, so Terrorblade comes back to World of the Living, caught around by 3 heroes. Raven tries to fight. Sunder is available, so he'll steal the life from Pasha, but Ramses moves back up again, and Virtus Pro, they hold the line.
Dang, they got baited hard. Lil went in way early. Again, it's one of those things like you want to go when they least expect it. They did not expect to jump on their Nyx Assassin before they were even touching the T3, and they were actually pretty decently spread out before then. It was Terrorblade on the north side, Nyx on the south side, and then the 3 other heroes were up on the hill. But because Lil jumped the Nyx Assassin, they all had to come up, save him, and then they would clump for a 4-man RP. And that is huge for VP, especially winning a fight without Haunt. No one delivered big on that.
Yep. And now you start to see the graph shift down. That gold advantage which TNC was working so hard to establish is gone. The experience graph just dives.
Yeah, they didn't have the Tinker there well fortified. Notice Tinker was TPing in on the creep as the jump happened, and he has to blink out first. You can't blink forward in that situation. So like he can't set up in a forward position for the march, which is how they won that T2 fight up on top. So it was the perfect time for VP to jump. It was a tiny window before they were all set up with multiple marches and Terrorblade with his like 5 illusions spread out, and Tim's there. Perhaps with a good silence, but none of that was possible. They just did not have enough time. VP, one of the swiftest teams here.
And they're looking to fight again already. They smoke up, even before the Basher is able to be delivered. It's currently sitting at the tier 3 tower in the mid lane. But Virtus.pro are hoping for some level of engagement. They put the Observer Ward up next to the Ancients. They'll only see a Terrorblade illusion farming there, but TNC looks like they're ready to fight for the blink. Crush forward, Spectral Haunt, Raven. They force off him deeper into it, but he sunders over on Lil, taking away that life with a Nick stun. Lil will end up falling, and the RP, it'll connect on 2. No Shallow Grave available, so skewer them back into the freezing field. Spirit and Terrorblade pushing up the Daisy Sam. Try to get him. Now he has to back up. But Cuckoo from the tree line with the Master Machines down and the continuous spam. He doesn't have enough damage to kill off no one, as no one is able to jump in. But Pasha under the tower. He can toggle through that damage. So he'll end up surviving. Not too healthy.
I do like how they have multiple ways to go in right now. Now it's 3 threats. Haunt, Slardar with potential Infest Bomb, and RP. And again, as Magnus, you always want the RP to come at least at the earliest second, I would say, unless they clump up. But a team on the level of TNC's caliber is not going to clump up for a 4-man RP unless something else happens before. So like, they're just forced to come up and save these heroes up in front. Especially if Terrorblade gets RP with someone else, his armor doesn't really matter if he's getting cleaved down. He doesn't have that high of HP. 1800 is decent at this point in time, but we're talking about like Lifestealer with a lot of strength right now, and like he's hitting for like 350 right now with Empower, which is pretty absurd. And then 50% cleave, and Terrorblade is just food.
TNC's going back to what they tried to do before. It's gank, get a kill, push him. They have the Gem of True Sight over on Sam, so more vision. They'll know if they go underneath any kind of detection from Virtus.pro, but more importantly, they are making sure that Magnus or the Shadow Blade can't catch him out. But they found their target, but it's a dire sentry ward. Nyx Assassin will walk on it. There's no Observer Ward there from VP, so they don't know the Nyx is there. And instead, they find a different target. It's Solo, reveals the smoke, taking it for the team.
The only thing that could have been better for Solo is if he had a minus respawn time talent.
Well, he's not playing a Lion in this game.
Yeah, he should be up close to the tail end of this push, and Raven wastes no time trying to make this a strict 4-on-5, and they just have to be careful not to be baited in by a big RP.
Well, they're using Raven as the bait. There's your Blink Crush. It's over on the Tinker, and they have to keep pushing Cuckoo away. He had to tank the Shallow Grave, which allows the Dazzle now to fall. A good double stun from Sam creates more space. Raven wants to fight, but in they come. The kick was perfect! Perfect from Tims, cancelling off the RP and killing off the Magnus. Mag will now buy back. Pasha standing his ground, gets the bash onto Raven. It may just be enough with a follow-up crush from Lil. They'll do the work, but Tim's is there once again, working with Sam H to ensure some level of rebuttal. And now Lil, the silence again, and Cuckoo arrives. The laser, the rockets, here goes your RP from no one. Solo, what have you got left? The freezing field, that won't do it. The Spike Carapace instantly cancels it, so Solo has to go on the run. No one protects himself with his own shrine. Solo's the man who'll have to take it again for the team inside the tree lines. The rolling boulder fall, but Cuckoo found the kill. How much damage can they do? They can look to the range racks while 3 heroes from VP are down with no buybacks available.
Tims is godly on Earth Spirit. That stun right there and forcing the Magnus RP, or Magnus buyback, sorry. Excuse me, that's ridiculous how like patient you have to be on Earth Spirit. And Earth Spirit's not a hero that's like really seen as like one of the best counter initiators, but with the way Tims is playing it, he is making no one feel so miserable right now.
Oh, the crush is out. Weave, so Dazzle is back to the front lines as TNC they will be able to claim the entire top racks. Rolling Boulder, no one was kicking in there. He was hoping for an opportunity. So they do actually have the dust out. There's nowhere to really hide. Earth Spirit, Rolling Boulder, TP out. The Shallow Grave will protect him. The damage, the Skew will fall. They do catch him. So Tim's will fall. No one gets something back. But 313 gold for everything TNC just took. It's a great trade for TNC.
Indeed, and they just need to be able to secure Roche, and they can take down the shrines right now. Magnus needs a BKB to be able to get his combo off. Like, if he had BKB right there and could skewer into RP, that would have been an easy fight win for VP, and I think they would be in a very solid position to clean up the rest of the game. But because Magnus doesn't have his BKB, he's just so susceptible to, like, he has to worry about, like, Carapace too, which just destroyed the CM. I thought they were going to come back with that RP there, but he had held Carapace for the perfect time.
And you get a Skadi on the Terrorblade, so the kiting of Virtus Pro is going to become more and more difficult. Aghanim Scepter is in the quick buy as well for Cuckoo, so the range burst damage, which has been pumping out, not to mention that mischance. Second you lose your rage, Lifesteal's going to have a hard time dishing out the damage.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he doesn't have the Echo Saber. The Echo Saber with the Empower Burst, you want to be able to kill people as quickly as possible during the RP, and...
Lil so close in the bottom. I don't think he actually knew exactly how close he was because Cuckoo was running around with his frickin' Glimmer Cape all the time, but he basically walked right over the top of him.
Yeah, the Glimmer Cape is also just a lot of micro for Tinker. Tinker, you have to press a lot of buttons anyways, and like it's actually ridiculous how much APM you have to constantly push out the waves as Tinker. And
but it looks flawless the way Cuckoo is doing it. Like with the jump, the Glimmer, then jump again. It's
seamless indeed.
Yeah. TNC are preparing for a Virtus Pro attack. Understandable considering VP have always looked for that little bit of a smoke gank. Sam H moves forward.
They're looking to smoke the place wards down. They need this Roche. And he got two pretty decent observer wards on the side. Unfortunately, it does not catch TNC in this position. Even if it did, they would have a gem to deal with this. And Sam H trying to look for someone to jump. They can't just walk into the pit though. I think they probably need a D ward before, because if they get even 2-man RP'd inside the pit, I think it could spell disaster. And BKB is completed on no one, so he can finally not worry about his combo getting interrupted.
I can just force in the top lane. Like, I suppose Spec can move back.
Yeah, Spec's really good at that.
And just do that. But right now, like, Ramses, he's sitting in the mid lane. Okay, he has a TP scroll if he wants to use it.
And now they see just the waiting game right now. Who can push out the lanes quicker? Tinker usually wins this battle, though.
Usually.
Yeah, usually.
Any kind of split push battle, Tinker is going to win unless you got a straight up counter to him.
Yep. But his net worth is number 1. And he can keep all 3 lanes pushed out. So Spectre will be the one to defend top, but VP do not want to leave this mid lane.
Yeah.
You cannot give up this road for free.
Yeah, if that happens, I think it's kind of a frontline tank, which, if they commit abilities to kill him off, the RP goes.
What have we here?
And then you've still got the issue of having the extra life straight after. Nyx Assassin's on the hunt, can't find his opening yet. Cuckoo very close to Solo. So Solo drops a sentry ward. Cuckoo gonna hide inside Roshan. Smallest of opportunities when Solo goes for that D ward.
And speaking of D wards, it's actually pretty difficult for the Nyx to find these obs wards because they are on the high ground, and he does not have an Iron Talon. And you could commit Blink, but then you're coming out of Vendetta. Is that really worth it for him? They do need to make sure this area is clear. At least the Shrine's down, so they feel pretty safe. Normally you would not run up right then.
Nyx Assassin's found his target. He found no one.
And he
Gets
found
eyes
Lil.
on Lils to know exactly where they are. The blink away! So quick.
Whew.
That had to be so close to Lil's crush connecting.
I think he saw the sentry beforehand, and he saw the obs, but that was still very clutch by him.
There goes your range ranks up on top. It was just a couple of Terrorblade melee illusions pushing in. Lil still wants this hunt. Moving forward, no, he's very visible when the Tinker rockets connect. And VP's had enough. They actually buy the gem. No one buys the gem. They need to be able to see this next assassin.
They still don't have any instant disable for him. Even haunt is not going to be quick enough because you have to haunt and then you have to attack, or you have to wait for your radiance hit, and you can still blink out of it as soon as you hear the haunt sound. So they don't have a good way to actually catch this Nyx assassin, even if they see him. RP generally isn't going to be fast enough either.
And Sam's using the Terrorblade illusions to see up the hill, so he's not even able to go into an area where he feels he's at risk.
Yeah, they just need to wait for a good RP. Tinker has 12 Bloodstone charges, so he's not going to be back that quickly in the fight. If he dies, I think he's probably the hero that they want to jump on very, very early. But wasting a lot of time. Last Infest didn't work out. This Infest doesn't work out. And TNC slowly but surely taking objectives around the side. Looked like possibly an accidental click by the Spectre, but there's no way they can defend it with that.
When he hangs around here. There's no vision from TNC. They just keep sending illusion after illusion and to just slowly pick up the shrine. Solo, well, again, he's the man that has to find TNC. And mission successful. He definitely found TNC.
Yeah,
With Solo down, 40 seconds, no buyback, is this confidence enough to actually go into Roshan?
I don't think so. I think the RP threat is still way too large. They got wiped on top lane already once. And they just need to make sure a catastrophic fight does not happen. Ideally, they'd be able to sneak and Roche themselves. That was a pretty big window when the CM is down on bottom, dying, when they're all close to the shrine. Because Terrorblade doesn't have a really fast way to get there, get to this. But, you know, ideally, you'd just be able to seal with like Lifesteal and a Star Dart in maybe 10-15 second window, but they weren't able to do that.
VP's getting really concerned about Roshan. They scan just south of the pit. So they're sending the Spec Illusions in to have a quick look. It's because they've lost that ward next to the Radiant Shrine. So without that, they don't really see who's coming from behind, and that other ward inside their own jungle, it just timed out. So they need to refresh their vision, or they take Roshan themselves. And in fact, that's exactly what Lil does. Jump in. It actually triggers, so amplification can now come up. They have the extra damage, but TNC, they are so close. The weave connects on the three heroes. They know what's going on. The three-man's done. Maybe with the RP on the back lines, no one on the cover. The BKB will do the work. Roshan, Aegis Immortal does go the way of Ramses. No one, actually Raven, able to sunder him, but still not enough to stay alive. Ramses has himself a double kill, looking for more. 3 heroes down for TNC, and it's Sam H, Spike Carapace, follow-up stuns. He can't even trigger the Aegis from Spec. They just have to run themselves away. Virtus Pro get the perfect fight.
Wow, the way they moved around with that smoke too just missed the Roche. If their smoke had popped as they were smoking down from the shrine, they would have cleaned them up in the pit.
Poor Solo. Tinker was able to kill him off. I think Ramses is also rather concerned moving in because that creep wave is kicking him through the top lane. So you didn't kill off Cuckoo. He's still going to keep these lanes pressured out. So it's great that you've got the Aegis, but you're still on the defense.
Yeah, and it's really good that Terrorblade just died really easily. He just picked up his butterfly, so you'd imagine that he'd be more tanky, but he still fell quite quickly. And now they have a new lifeline. At this point, Spectre can just haunt in and just tank. Yep. You don't really care if he dies, as long as he sets up for a half-decent RP, and things were a lot easier for Magnus. And now he can go for more greedy items after showing up with a BKB.
Yeah, the fact he got the BKB and Spec had also, that was the 10-second BKB from Spectra used in that fight.
Yeah, it's only TB that they have to worry about during BKBs, and he doesn't have any mobility. He doesn't even have a pike.
That's a good pick. As the Gem of True Sight taken away from the Nyx Assassin. So now VP are in possession of 2 gems.
Nice. Oh, I thought he went for the plus agility and the EB. He got the plus 120 GPM and the EB. EB's pretty good here. Save your cores during RP. They do have Diffusal though, so that's ill timing.
Alright, is this finally when VP can take down this tier 1 tower? 40 minutes in and this tier 1 tower on the offlane TNC is still standing.
Yeah, Nyx is such a big threat in the fights that with him being down, it should be pretty easy. Unless...
Oh, He actually blinks, dodges the rocket, gets a perfect crutch, and Cuckoo caught in the tree lines. He'll have to deny himself with the Bloodstone. But he's played the defense of that tier 1 tower from the same position for the last 20 minutes. And finally, VP, little look for that opening actually about 10-15 minutes ago, and he couldn't find it. This time, hits the mark perfectly.
And the nice thing about playing Slaughter here is that you'll always have enough damage as long as Spectre's Haunt is up. And he committed for the Tinker kill, which I think is perfectly reasonable at this point in the game. And finally, Ramses is on top of the net worth. And keep in mind, they have these 2 melee cores that are pretty high on the dire side have Empower. So he's hitting for a lot harder than his net worth would suggest. Whereas Terrorblade, he was highest, but it doesn't feel like he's the highest right now.
I see Raven trying to find more stability in the next team fight. Saw how quickly he got popped down. He goes for his BKB. But the physical damage is still going to rip him apart.
Yeah, he can't move around in the fight, so he has Gray, but he still can't escape. So I think he's going to need to upgrade his lance to a pike at some point and just create some distance in between himself and other heroes and create some spread so that him and his teammates don't get cleaved down. But right now, the Empower is doing a lot of work, and no one did go for the 10% Empower talent. So 60% more damage, actually even more than that, considering the cleave on these other heroes.
So TNC, fights are not going your way. You're still 1 racks up, however, and you're still running a Tinker and Terrorblade, so your split push is still looking pretty damn good. How do you actually look for a win condition here?
I think you actually need to end the game before Magnus gets 6 slotted. Once he gets like Refresher, I think they're in a lot of trouble. Especially with Tinker not having instant Bloodstone. He only has, or instant respawn right now, he has only 10 charges on his Bloodstone. So if he gets RP'd, he is out for a very, very long time. And
ooh, Solo, be careful. Rocket spam coming in from Cuckoo. Solo.
that is so sad.
just get out. Hey, he tanked up three rockets. Made sure he didn't die. Holding that Gem of True Sight, he does not want to give it back to TNC.
Is under attack.
But you definitely think the approach.
Yeah, he is. He almost TP'd onto that, but he has the Observer Ward on the high ground, scanning them out. So yeah, what did TNC want to do right now? If they can't push into the Aegis, Aegis just expire right now, so that's kind of fortunate for them. But I think with the next, if VP gets the next Aegis, they can easily stall until Magnus gets more items, and they're in just really, really deep.
Can TNC just force the bottom lane?
No.
You got Metamorphosis, so you can
so.
at least take out the tier 3 tower, and then like every Metamorphosis, you just push it. Prep your Observer Ward, so at least, because you don't have the Jam or True Sight at the moment, so you have Orbs and Sentries around. Do you prepare for the fight on bottom lane and just have vision superiority?
I don't think so, because even if you see them coming, you're still going to lose the fight. Like, Spectre can literally just dagger and just walk in and then buy back and haunt, and they will get wiped, I think, right now, just because of how strong the Spectre is, and because the Lifestealer is also dealing a large amount of damage, and they have no control through his Rage. They still don't have any anti-BKB with the Terrorblade, and I think even if Terrorblade is left alone in the fights, he still won't be able to kill the Lifestealer at all, which is a very, very big problem. So yeah, if they push, they can just power through with buybacks. Ramses, he was sitting at 6,000 gold. Right now he has 6,500 gold. So they just need to wait a little bit longer for Magnus to get to the point where his team fight is unparalleled with the double RP. Right now, what do TNC have for team fight? Is this Tinker spam pretty much? I would say is their main team fight.
VP's coming out. They're actually wanting to fight already. So it's a 3/4-man smoke because you got the infested Lifestealer inside of Lil. And they're wrapping around, so Spec is almost baiting in the mid, hoping that Sam will come into him, but VP, they're going the long, long way around. Apart from Solo, he's cutting the short path. Gets the Observe Ward up, they still don't have any vision of anybody. Coming into that bottom lane, they know there's going to be Master Machines forcing the lane. And they have to basically prepare the fact there is Observer Wars, but then BKB, the RP, able to connect perfectly. Dazzle's already down, no Shallow Grave here for the fight. Terrorblade, now the Metamorphosis will be triggered. You'll find Solo going down the tree line soon, has to rolling boulder away. It was Ramses who's just in the thick of it underneath Cuckoo. But VP, retreat back out again. Nyx Assassin wants to go for more. A quick Yorceptor, doesn't have the Sun available. For some reason, the E-Blade popped his a melee creep, looking for a Lifestealer. Doesn't actually find it.
Really good BKB by the Terrorblade. And that was a really nice skewer by no one. He got vision from the Haunt and just skewered the TB into the Dazzle, so Dazzle was just dead. Unfortunately for them, Dazzle died so fast that they couldn't cleave Raven down because of the Butterfly. They don't quite yet have the MKB up on the Lifestealer.
They're going in with no RP, with no Spectral Haunt, and you saw the Metamorphosis up. Raven's doing his work. They get the melee ranks down the bottom lane, so TNC still get the objective they were looking for. They don't manage to regather the gem from the Lifestealer, but they do still have one over on the Nyx. So side lanes belong to TNC now.
Yeah, they weren't able to kill any high priority targets that fight. Yeah, Dazzle was high priority, but he wasn't like they only got a Dazzle after committing all of their
Especially the
ultimates.
snowball, right? Like you kill the Dazzle, so then you can take the high priority target because there's no grave delaying you.
Yeah, they weren't able to control the Tinker as well as they would have liked.
Ramses he's almost buying out, so he buys up a Skadi now on the Spectra.
3,600 HP seems pretty good.
Sam gets the stun. No follow-up, it's just E-play pop. Just harassment on the mid lane more than anything else, and Roshan is up, and VP no. They have to commit quickly to this. RP is up in 7 seconds time, Spec Horns is up in 1 second, and it won't even matter. Roshan's dead before both abilities come off cooldown. So Aegis and Cheese. Aegis in the hands of Ramses, and Cheese is in the backpack of Lifestealer.
They have 4 minus armor on the side of VP with the Dezo, double aura, and then the corrosive haze. So there's just very, very little chance. And utilizing the Slaughter, yes, Slaughter is not really seen that hot right now, but he's still, I would say, one of the best supports to aid in the taking down of Roshan, which has been very key this game, especially the time that they sneaked it in before. So now, yeah, Aegis, Cheese, and the backpack of the Lifestealer. I think he can probably go for the MKB at this point on the Lifestealer. Might still want to stay for buyout, but 2x down, I still don't think TNC's in that great a position because of how well VP scale.
TNC are coming. Ramses walks straight underneath that observer ward. They know where he is. Pasha will reveal himself in a second as well. So Nyx Assassin, if they get that initial stun, Pasha's going to be in a lot of trouble. The damage will instant metamorphosis trigger. Pasha, he wants to get out, but it will not happen. In fact, Nyx Assassin jumps forward, able to get the Yule Scepter into the E-Blade pop on the Spec. They need to get a little bit closer, and the kick following through, it actually connects. Ramses standing his ground now against the illusions. But with the buyback of the Lifestealer, TNC, they will disengage for the moment.
I bet he regrets having that javelin in his inventory instead of the cheese. He had plenty of time with cheese there if it were in his inventory. And those dreams of having MKB before this fight are dashed.
Yep. And a huge kill as well if TNC can follow up and get it again. 6 minutes and a half without buyback available for a Lifestealer.
Yeah, they need the Spectre to be out there tanking one of these games. The thing about TNC is they're incredibly good about their target selection too. They know the exact right hero to kill. Normally, Lifestealer's like, do we really want to go in that? But in this case, he didn't have the cheese. He wasn't able to. He doesn't have any way to get out of the silence too. To rage, no AC, no Lotus Orb. I don't think any on his team actually. And they do have that high ground position. TNC just extremely good about connecting.
Lil Spec has to haunt in on this one. Cuckoo does have that fresh Hex available. When Lil's able to get the extra bash in, they will find the kill. Big kill for no one. 7 times kill streak has been ended for just over 800 gold. Not to mention the space that gets created with Tinker on the sidelines.
It's definitely some space, and I think they're not getting any objectives off of this, but it's still really important to force Tinker into that area where he's forced to buy back in case he dies in a team fight. And these Bloodstone decreased charges certainly add up.
Go. Ramses is gunning it forward. Diffusal Blade charge. They had to force staff down the Dazzle. E-Blade pop to stop the attack damage, but then again, he's also burning to the Radiance. I don't think really there's a way for Dazzle to survive, and he knows it, so goes for just a quick weave. Remove some of that armor from Virtus Pro, so if they do take the tier 2 tower, they might think twice about pushing up as Tinker respawns with 2 seconds to go. And you can see it already. Ramses, BT's up the top lane. It's back to the split push.
BOT is mandatory at this point. I think with 2 lanes down, Spectre is going to be their main split pusher, although most of their heroes can do it with the aid of Empower, barring Lil and Solo, I suppose. But Lil, he's been on Tinker hunting duty all game, which is a perfectly reasonable way to play at this point.
He's there doing it again.
He hasn't died as much as I've expected from him.
He'll see the martial machines, but he doesn't find the target. Okay, now he does. Tinker TP's in, blink to the side, but Lil, he still's not certain about it. With no haunt up, he'll have to wait another 12 seconds before that's available.
And he has no room for dust on the Spectre, and
that's why he has to rely on the gem of Lil.
Yep, or the amp, but at the same time, they need Lil going first because he could just perma-hex Lil and TP out. There's no way for Spectre to interrupt TPs right now. So still pretty tight game. Magnus almost has a refresher. That is really bad. A lot of these fights have still been won without RP. And I don't think TNC can really siege this that well. A kill on Pasha, I think, will probably yield in a T3, maybe more. But barring that, I think most of the other heroes have enough gold to power through and/or the Aegis on Spectre, so he's not scared at all.
Watching Lil move up this top lane is hilarious. He's like multiple creep waves go just because he knows. He's got one job, and that's killing Tinker. Pushing the waves, he'll leave that to somebody else. Now they probably have to come back to defend. I think Raven, he has an arcane rune, so he can expend a meta without really too much loss for him and just spam out tons of illusions. So yeah, especially when he sends him to mid.
Free T3 damage.
Yep. Even without having to trigger Metamorphosis. The illusions already hurt the tower so much, and they find an opening. It's going to be Lil. That's the Gem of True Sight lost. Tims will end up picking that one up.
Ooh, this is really bad because now they don't really have that many threats for the fight. Without a Lifestealer infested on Lil, I think the Tinker can kind of just run free. Spectre does not have enough damage to kill the Tinker by himself.
And if Lil buys back, it's going to be very much telegraphed to TNC. So they can just retreat out. So you can't even set up the Infest combo with Pasha.
And Aegis is down. Ramses, his life is at risk.
There goes the tier 3. Bit by bit, TNC are claiming the buildings inside VP's base. The Hex is there, the RP will connect with a kick from Tims! Perfect, the bomb silence, BKB from no one. It may be enough, the Cleave is still doing his work, the Shallow Grave is out. It's actually protecting the Terrorblade, who was able to sunder himself back up, but Ramses, he needs to die, and Raven's able to oblige, not to mention Tims. Another 3-man stun. This guy is a god. The buyback will come in from the Spec, allowing him now to horn forward. Raven will fall, and this will be a costly defense, but a defense nonetheless from Virtus Pro. Tinker needs a TP out, needs something, but Cuckoo rearmed, can't do it in time, not while the Shallow Grave is there. So there's no Tinker. He doesn't have buyback available, but Terrorblade as well as Nyx do.
Oof. Only a T3. Rex were not even scathed at all. And Magnus did not pop BKB before RP. That was really big because the Carapace had already come out on the Nyx Assassin. Nice timing by him. But they still were able to clean up, albeit with multiple buybacks.
Yep. But you also had one from TNC, so that was a dieback on the Tinker.
Mm-hmm. And I think they have enough damage at this point to go for Throne after a set of racks. And 50 seconds off on Tinker is a pretty long time. Is Magnus going to buy BOTs and come in? Is he going to save for his refresher? Not sure what his play is here.
Oh, they're going into the tier 4 tower.
Oh.
The Dazzle just gets destroyed. So Virtus Pro, how far do you want to go with this one? There's no Tinker, there's no Dazzle. Do you feel you got enough for a GG push? Or do you try and counter the racks? They're going to go for the racks instead, but the tier 2 towers are up, so they can't go for anything more than the mid. But yep, here we go. They're going to go straight for the tier 4 towers. Virtus Pro, there will be a 3-man kick from Tims, delaying this up, and Virtus Pro, including a 2-man silence, will now walk outside of the TNC base.
And still plenty of time to take out at least one shrine. Magnus looks like he is going to be on base defense duty. I think he can sell his Midas and buy refresher and have enough for buyback, which I think is really important for him. A refresher should just be
the
GG.
first refresher is actually Ramses, so we got a refresher for the Spectra. Spectre.
Yeah, 2 BKBs on him too, which is, I think, very, very important for him in this game.
Tower is under attack.
Aghanim Scepter now rise for the Earth Spirit.
This
Now
is
you
late
got-
game, dude.
You got a secondary save now from TNC. It's not just reliant on Dazzle hitting that shallow grave.
Looking at level 25s too, because that's starting to come into play. Terrorblade's still not level 25. 15 all stats, usually the choice. I think minus 30 Sunder cooldown might actually have some merit here.
25 seconds for Roshan. VP smoke timing is going to get them at Roshan at almost the exact moment, but you look at TNC, they're also coming in. The smoke's going to break. No one. This time, the BKB plus the ulti. Remember, he's going to have the secondary one thanks to Refresher Ops. Let's skew it forward. Secondary RP. You also have to buy space for Nick's Assassin, but Sam, the Shallow Grave is keeping him alive, but it won't be the same for the Terrorblade. He will fall. And Ramses looking for the Horde. He wants a secondary target. He jumped up to the top lane after using the Refresher Orb. Didn't actually get the kill over on Tim's. So TNC will lose the fight, but they're not going to lose the game here because they still had their Tinker pushing in the side lanes.
That just shows you how powerful VP's teamfight is right now. They can blow 2 RPs on. I would kind of say it's just one hero with the Terrorblade because the Grave had already come off, and still win the fight very, very handily. And now compound that with Aegis that they can just easily stall out for the refreshers to come off cooldown. I think this Rax in mid for VP is still safe for some time to come, and Cuckoo is going to have to pull out all the stops to stop VP. Like the hexes, they can easily get a Lotus Orb on VP to deal with them. And as long as Magnus pops his BKB, he should be completely okay. I think they need to find a way for the Terrorblade to get out of the fight. Like you can save him for a little bit with like EB, which can get diffused, with Grave, which they actually just kept attacking him through it, through the 5 seconds. But they need a way for him, I think, to actually eject from the fight or do enough damage that he can kill people through his with his BKB. But I don't really think that's an option realistically because no one will always RP him if given the opportunity.
I don't think VP no, unless this crew is going up to Secret Shop. There's a Gem of Truth site just sitting in the dire jungle at the moment, and no one has any idea. I think it's actually sitting there.
This is where the game starts to get crazy, Toby.
There's too much to keep track of.
Yeah, level 25. You have to.
You've already got 2 gems over on VP. Lil and Solo are carrying it. Nick's Assassin's carrying one of his own, and then you got another gem sitting on the ground. This is when we need the super gems.
And the GPM talents. It's 58 minutes in the game. CM has the 120 GPM talent. Earth Spirit has had 90 GPM for like 30 minutes now.
Oh wait, are we going to get ourselves another 1040 GPM in this game?
No way.
They're too far out.
It's way too long of a game to have that high of GPM, sadly. But poor Dazzle, he's level 16. Only has 2 talents to choose from. So sad.
Two under level. Everyone else can buy him the tomes then. Like they're pulling in the money.
Yep. Buy him gems. Buy him Moonshard.
Buy Moonshard. Moonshard Dazzle. we need the full combat build with the Desolator on him early on. That's why you had the Anuxi Desolator set for Dazzle.
Dazzle
for combat Dazzle.
Nyx doesn't even have Ags yet. He is going for full survivability. He just doesn't want to get RP'd. I do like his build. He's been able to use out most of the skewer into RP because there's still cast time on the RP after that. And I see him up in the air the majority of the time during these team fights. So that's pretty nice for him that he can just stay alive. It is, I think, pretty important that he didn't go for the Ags though, or else he'd still get RP'd and he would get cleaved down. If he didn't have the Yules, I would think he'd have far less impact in these team fights.
Yeah. And this isn't even like a CG thing, which the Ags are so good for.
Yeah.
Ramsey just looks like so much, like it's such good bait that TNC aren't going to have a bar of it. We've now crossed over the hour mark in this game. So both teams understand, especially TNC, like they lose one fight because they've lost that mid racks. It's so simple for VP just to rush down mid if they haven't lost any of their critical cores.
Yeah, I think at this point the racks are kind of irrelevant. There is the one shrine up outside of the base, and that's the Rose Shrine for TNC, which is very important for a hero like Tinker. and pretty much anyone on their team. The Shrine's going to heal for ridiculous amounts at this point in the game. So let's see, Terrorblade level 25. He did take the Thunder cooldown, which I think he's been like very close to dying in all these fights.
Yeah.
And the agility and the HP from the sets is decent, but you just need to stay alive and power through these ultimates. 2 haunts, 2 RPs, Grave,
Look,
and 1 Sunder is not going to be enough.
All he's going to do is wait for the Grave. Like he goes initial Sunder, waits for the Grave,
Yes,
and then 7
exactly.
seconds cooldown on his Sunder.
And he has a heart too to even aid in that quest of staying alive until the second Sunder.
VP were looking for a fight, but they're not going to get it. Instead, all they get is a D ward.
Oh jeez, Spectre has to rebuy Diffusal Blaze now. Oh, he doesn't actually have buyback after that. I guess he should have it pretty soon, but he is 9-slotted. He is Aegis. He'll have his buyback gold before the next fight.
Yeah.
Solo is given the cheese too. Okay, that's how late game this has gotten. No one else, he doesn't even have room in his inventory.
Yeah,
oh my God.
he understands his role. He needs the vision. He needs to get the Observer wards down, then he can switch the cheese in.
And he has a Lotus Orb to counter the Tinker. Tinker's life is absolutely just miserable when you have to play against Lotus Orb and BKBs. It's just, like, you might even consider switching out the...
Isn't that when you start selling it? Sell cheese?
For whom? Sell cheese? Well,
any kind of income you can get into your
here he has 120 GPM talent, dude. He already has money for the Lotus Orb.
He doesn't need to sell it. Odd.
And even like Slardar can hit really, really hard. He went for the 20 strength talent and the damage on the Slardar, and he has Empower. So Slardar Empower is going to be hitting for like 350-ish. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage with Corrosive Haze too.
Oh, VP have the damage. They still need to inflict it. TNC are waiting this out very, very patiently, but Lil right next to Cuckoo. The Blink Crush, they're going to find the Tinker and bring him down. Buyback is available. They'll have to cut their way out of the tree line, which they'll be fine to do so.
A 2-charge Bloodstone.
Solo's prepping Tinker wards on the bottom lane as well. They want to keep their vision up, and Sam, it's like his job is ganking up at the bottom. They have the Observer and Sentries down, so they see where Solo is moving, but they want the bigger target. They want Ramses, the man that was farming the lane, but he didn't keep going with the creep wave. He went back up now in range of the Observer ward.
That's a really tough call to make, though. If it actually erupts into a team fight, Tinker has to buy back. And there's no guarantee that he's actually even going to be able to do anything in the fight because it's so far away from base. There might not be that many things to TP on. He doesn't have BOT2s yet on the Tinker, so he will have some trouble getting into the fight. And if he buys back and dies, it's just GG. So no one...
He's got a 2.8k surplus. He can buy the BTs too.
But then he won't have buyback. He doesn't have any Bloodstone charges, so he has to save for buyback.
Well, he's got enough with the surplus.
Oh, he does? Oh, he
yeah.
does. Okay.
He'll be fine.
Don't want to buy back, though.
Maybe he's thinking of a different item with 2 Bloodstone charges.
What does he get, though?
Do you want to... Yeah, what do you get in return? Do you go for the burst damage? Do you actually bring in a Dagon?
Dagon versus like 3600 HP Spectre, and like multiple BKBs and Rage, I don't think is the play. Ghost Scepter also probably not the play because they have fresh Diffusal on Ramses. So
unless it's a secondary E-Blade pop.
That would be nice.
Because you already have one coming in from the next Assassin, so you could actually kite out the Life Stealer in a second wave.
He already sold his Glimmer, so I mean he's already playing with not that much gold. Well, 791 last hits on Spectre. That is ridiculous. I don't know what the record was yesterday, but this game might be most last hits in the game.
When you have more CS than the Tinker, who's just been pushing the side lanes time and time again, but now you got Ramses, like he BTs out. And then pushes the lane. Lil ready to come in, looking for the fight, and a quick reflect. They want to go for more with a follow-up stun. Now Spectre going to haunt in. No one looks for the RP, but where is it? Now will go down, catching up the Terrorblade. The skewer forward. He's only found one. That's a big one. Cuckoo will fall. We'll have the buyback from Cuckoo. He needs to get back into this one. The Cello Grave Terrorblade. Sunder. He lets it go and gets pushed up on top of the hill. Now is King of the Castle play. Terrorblade will survive. His mana doesn't even get him down from there. Someone's going to force up. That'll get him down. No slaughter for 100 seconds. Spec does have buyback, 114 seconds. He could potentially wait, but that's way too long, and Cuckoo is on the hunt. Needs to rearm, get closer, gets the Hex over on the Magnus. Support is there. Sam will get not the double stun. The Rage is off in time. Ramsey's by his back, triggers a refresh orb. They're looking for more kills on the back of that Horn. Tim's is the man on the run. He's going to rolling boulder down over the hill and blinks up and TPs away.
Holy
the
shit,
buyback
what?
is out and he will survive.
I cannot believe that Tim just saved him right there. That was so crucial. Oh my god, what a player. He just saved the game right there. I think by they baited out the Spectre buyback and they didn't lose the Tinker. That is incredible. What?
Now Magnus is the only one who has the buyback.
Yeah, this is what. Okay, so he has a refresher orb on Terrorblade, so multiple Sunders. It could be like 4 Sunders in a fight, possibly. Perfect timing from the grave, by the way.
He actually just triggered it now. So he triggers the refresh orb, switches the heart back in again. So Metamorphosis, here we go again. Push down the mid lane. Everyone's up, but without the RP, it's 25 seconds. Haunt for 52 seconds. The cheese is on spec, so he can survive that way.
Yeah, now they need to throw Life Stealer up in front because he has buyback. I guess Magnus can go up in front too, but you don't really want to be up in front even with the minus respawn time talent. But can they really push with this? They still need to be able to get a jump, but it's really hard with a Lotus Orb on the side.
Raven just wants to chip. He looks towards the ranks. This will force VP into some level of engagement. The kick was trying to create a little bit more space. There's a Frostbite over on Raven. That melee rank has dropped down low, but not low enough.
Tim's Earth Spirit.
First try it out. They still don't have the double RP. No one's waiting for the perfect opportunity, but it's Terrorblade. They know he's waiting to drop down low so that he can sunder, and he does it over on Pasha. He dodges the Lotus Orb target for Raven. Drop down low. They'll need the Shallow Grave. Raven, there it is. He'll keep himself alive. RP is out. It's the control there long enough. They four-staff him down. There's the Sunder. Another four-staff. Raven will fall down solo. Value Nova finds the kill. Tim's was rolling ball around. He'll actually roll right into the middle of Pasha. Terrorblade will buy back.
Wow, he wasn't actually able to enchant Remnant on him too. Tim's died without using his ultimate, and they were like all in on saving the Terrorblade right there. And of all things to die to, 67 centimeter Crystal Nova. Oh my god. Oh man. I thought he might have the level 25 talent. No, it's just a untalented Crystal Nova. He's not level 25 yet.
Close. Very, very close. And even then, isn't even going to get the Nova. After that, maybe. But 1.5 seconds of Frostbite duration.
If he had Ags, you usually go for the Frostbite duration.
He's got the Ags and the quick buy.
Yeah. I think he probably wants to save for buyback at this point, though. So, maybe another 10 minutes. I guess he has a GPM talent, so maybe not even that long. Hell of a game we have here, Toby.
It is 68.5 minutes in. Neither team wanting to give up. There's a reason why these two teams are sitting playing for the top seeding out of the Swiss bracket, if they can claim it. Even those graphs. It seems ridiculous that we're sitting at 18,000 net worth advantage to Virtus Pro. About 16k in the experience advantage as well.
There's so many items in backpacks right now that the net worth chart is, I don't even know where it is if you just count all 6 items.
Yeah, so, when you take out the refresher orbs. Hey, at least we kept up our Midas quota. We had at least 3 Midases. I think it was Paul saying on the way here, we've had an average of 3 Midases in every single game.
Wait, no one got Midas in this game?
No, they did. It's all been sold.
Who got... Oh, the Knicks had Midas. Who else had Midas, though?
Knicks had Midas.
I think it was just Knicks this game.
No, we definitely had 3.
Okay.
We definitely had 3.
There were 3.
I remember seeing 3.
Too many items.
All right. So we're going again. Probably just need to wipe the sweat off your brow and get back into the fight.
Refresher up on no one. He didn't have it off cooldown last fight.
Yeah.
Now they can just take Roach, I think, with still 20 seconds left on this. That's more than enough time.
Does he? I suppose they do it so quickly it may not matter. But he doesn't want to have to use Refresher Orb in order to get his RP up. He wants to have both of them for the next fight.
You definitely want Roach, though, because you don't have buyback on Ramses because of that Tim split.
Roshan is paper.
And
wet, soggy paper. ripped apart. Yeah, who takes the cheese? All right, Live Seal will take the cheese. And then give it over to Solo to survive. You understand who the important one is. So now we actually have more Lotus Orbs appearing. This one will be in the Nyx Assassin. He's actually trading his... He put his boots... Like he's still walking around with brown boots, putting him in his inventory. Okay, he gives the gem over to Earth Spirit now.
I think in TNC's position right now, I think you might have to concede the fact that you just can't win a team fight now that RP and Refresher and Aegis are up.
So do you go for a trade-off? Do you try and cancel the TPs with the Nyx Assassin and just force him behind the base? You turn this into a race.
I think you have to try and go for a sneaky throw-in play is the best option that you're going to get. I think Tinker needs to be the one to stop all the TPs with hexes and just count that they're not going to BKB TP to go home.
Looks like they're just going to have to fight from inside their base. VP are coming to them.
Yeah,
but you see the sidelines pushing in. So if TNC could just do a little bit of defense, hey, they have a Tinker, then they're going to be fine. Because it forces this exact thing.
They have to play close to the shrines, though. I think they're so weak relative to the 5-man VP that they're going to need like 2 or 3 shrines and like 4 steps into the fountain to be able to win the fight right now. He could be up on Tinker. Sadly, you cannot rearm it, but he has been dying to Spectre Haunt and getting Diffusal. So, yeah.
He needed something.
I think it's a good item.
And Life Stealer is now building into a full blood pool.
Ooh, a smoke. Smoke coming out from TNC on the left side of the map.
Do they find an opening? They have to assume, because Lil and the frickin' Live Stealer, Pasha, have just been holding hands this entire time, and he walks straight into them. The Hex will be there. This will be a big opening if they can actually get both of the kills. Slaughter's down for 2 minutes with a follow-up stun. The window has been left open from Virtus Pro. Live Stealer will have a buyback, but with no Slaughter, no amplification, no secondary crush. This may be exactly what TNC needed.
What a perfect timing for a smoke, too. Unfortunately, they did use Metamorphosis for that because Raven's like, wow, what, there's just 2 heroes here? As soon as he saw the Lifestealer pop out, he's like, okay, there has to be more, right?
But he's got Refresher in 15 seconds.
Yep.
So you're still going to have it to go.
So without Slaughter, do they have enough control? No one? This is on you.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure, Magnus.
You know, if he didn't hit that big RP on top with the 4-man RP, I think the game would have ended like 40 minutes ago. So he delivered already once when the game was on the line.
As a wise person once said, I'm fairly certain this game is going to be ended on an RP.
I'd be more surprised if RP wasn't cast.
Yeah, on a failed RP.
Okay.
That's more of a negative way of looking at the fight before it happens.
Technically, it would still land an RP.
There's your jump forward. Ramses already copying a fair chunk of damage from Raven. They protect them both with Lotus Orbs. But Ramses, not too healthy, has the Aegis. It looks like it's about to trigger. He's so low, 100. He went down to 20 HP, still surviving. So there goes the Aegis Immortal to the skewer. They can hold him there, but no one actually gets stunned. Raven, the RP has to come out from no one. Hold him in position. Solo now lets it go, but Raven, the damage is again too much. Solo has to back up a little bit further, get away from the next assassin. Secondary RP committed, but Raven, another saving grace. They're just holding him there. He'll sunder his own Dazzle, the man that kept him alive. He had to sunder his own teammate. Refresher all about, create more chaos. Virtus Pro, the defense. Terrorblade is finally brought down. Tinker will join him. They're both dead for 2 minutes. With this window that was meant to be open for TNC, VP shutter closed and then shatter the glass. Even with all those defensive cooldowns on Terrorblade, he still cannot stay alive. What is that? 4 pull geomagnetic grips by Earth Spirit? He did everything he could. He did everything he could, but maybe we were right. Like, he just had to bail from the fight. Don't take a 5-on-5 fight. What better opportunity are you going to get there, though? I don't know. Keep delaying the game, keep split pushing until you get some level of opening against Virtus Pro. They have lane issues right now. This is... Oh, the crush. Sam. Quick Yule's up. Spine Carapace is available, so is E-Blade, so is Forstaff, but when he keeps getting bashed by Lil, he has E-Blade himself. Forstaff into Blink. No, he just got one little bit of damage into him, so he's incapable of blinking. Now Nyx Assassin is dead for 2 minutes. 1 minute until you got the 2 big cores up for TNC. But what do you got? You got Tim's pushing through the top lane. They can't win this race, can they? Both teams have fortification available. They have to test the waters to see what the buyback status is. 30 seconds left on Terrorblade, so his respawn timer is actually like
30 seconds, but that is way too long. I think this is game.
Gone. It's gone.
They're like, what? They don't have buybacks? Oh God, let's just end right here.
Yeah, Tim's is trying. Tim's is trying, but no one blinked in front of him, canceling the rolling boulder out. And Tim's is doing everything he possibly can. Another crush, but Pasha will come in. That's the game. That's VP taking game 1 in 74 minutes and 26 seconds against TNC. Hard fought game 1.
That was really, really tough.